Association appointment of the new board member to fill vacancies at Lands. We're fortunate we had 9 applicants to apply for this position, and letters are in this by the appointment were due Friday, January 16th by noon. Today, Linda Wilkins and I opened all the letters of interest, and we brought all the names and put them in a jar. So in fairness to the candidates, I would ask, apply to the appointment. Board of Education, each applicant will be randomly chosen, interviewed in the order that they come out of the jar. At the conclusion, we're going to ask everybody to go to the other room just so that those candidates go, so they, fairness, that the first person doesn't, not as fair to the last person, because the last person would have the opportunity to hear the questions. The same, one question per board member is going to be asked to each of the prospective candidates. So at this time, if Linda, if you would show the 9 candidates over the other room, please. I'm going to stick with the one that was in the packet as well. My question. What do you already know about the school, and why are you interested in serving on the board? Mr. Poinson, what's your question to be?
My question will be, as a school board member, how appropriate would it be for Superintendent Kim Lingenfelter to contact your employer about your workplace performance?
Mr. Ranky?
My question is, what personal and professional quality do you hope to bring to the school board?
What kinds of skills or expertise can you offer?
Mr. Wright.
John Adams says, "We are a nation of laws, not men." Do you believe the Neligh-Oakdale School Board should be ruled by the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of Nebraska, and the policies set forth by the Neligh-Oakdale School Board? In essence, should the Neligh-Oakdale School Board follow the laws of the land and its own policies?
Can you repeat that one?
Seriously?
Yeah. Is that what she had? You write them all down.
John Adams says, "We are a nation of laws and not of men." Do you believe the Neligh-Oakdale School Board should be ruled by the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Nebraska, and by policies set forth by the Neligh-Oakdale School Board? In essence, should the Neligh-Oakdale School Board follow the laws of the land and its own policies?
Linda, would you please draw out our first?
They asked me to ask this. The 2 women would like to go first so they could go to the basketball game, and Ron Rice would like to go last. Is that possible?
I think we set forth, if we're gonna do it by random, let's just stay with what we planned.
Okay. Hey, y'all, we're luck of the draw here. Ron Hill first.
She said it was nice one.
If you come up here so you can hear us questions, you can either stand or sit, or whatever you prefer. Obviously, we're going to ask one board member, like I said, we'll ask one question. You'll have an opportunity to answer that. If you would give us just a few minutes to take notes in between, and then we'll go from there. All right? Appreciate you putting your interest into this position. Ron, I'm going to ask you Mr. Gogan, I'm going to ask you the first question. What do you already know about our school, and why are you interested in serving on the board?
I taught there for 39 years, and so I think I know the educational process that has happened in the past and where we're at. I served a couple of years on the board for a member who resigned, and I feel I know how the board operates. I worked with the janitorial staff during the summers for about 25 years, doing construction work and maintenance, and so I think I know the maintenance part of the school also. I know the academic structure that for the past 39 years, what's been strong, what we need to maybe improve on or at least maintain. Second part of your question was what?
What do you already know about the school, and why are you interested in serving on the board?
I guess I'm interested in serving on the board because I have some experience and expertise, talents and abilities that I think you could use.
Thank you. When you will have the next question.
Mr. Gill, as a school board member, how appropriate would it be for Superintendent Kim Lingenfelter to contact your employer about your workplace performance?
I have to speak hypothetically here because I am my employer. I don't know how ethical it would be. I don't know whether it would be right or not. I think it would be something that I would not like to see happen.
Good enough, thank you.
Mr. Rankin?
Okay. Mr. Gill, what personal or professional quality do you hope to bring to the school board?
Well, I think I have some experience in building, and I have experience in how the school operates and has operated. And I think that I would like to see the academics maintained. I had 3 children go through who learned really good skills here and have been quite successful since then. And the last part of your question was?
What personal or professional qualities do you hope to bring to the school
Oh,
board?
okay. I guess one of the personal qualities is just my knowledge, and I think I got some common sense on how to handle some situations.
Okay. Thank you.
These are getting a little redundant, but humorous, I guess. What kind of skills or expertise can you offer? You know, you've answered that.
Okay.
Possibly.
Yeah, working here, I got to know a lot of the ins and outs of the building and the way things are and what it might be best to change or not change and how to go about things.
Thank you.
Mr. Wright?
Thank you, Mr. Gill, for taking time out of your schedule to be here. John Adams says we are not a nation of laws, or we are a nation of laws, not of men. You believe the Neligh-Oakdale School Board should be ruled by the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of Nebraska, and by the policies set forth by the Neligh-Oakdale School Board. In essence, should Neligh-Oakdale School Board follow the laws of the lands and its own policies?
I think that without violating any laws, definitely they should. They should take care to have a knowledge of what can be done within the law and to certainly stay within that letter of the law.
Thank you.
Those are the 5 questions. Appreciate, like I said, your participation. If you would like to go back to that room while we interview the other. Thank you.
Angie Bealitz will be next.
You know, you're probably free to go, if he wanted to go home or do something. Yeah, sorry.
You can either stand right over there or sit, whatever you prefer.
Can I sit over there?
Sure. Appreciate your willingness to come forward.
No problem.
Each board member is going to ask you a question, and if you answer, just give us a couple, for the next question, just a little bit to write our answers down.
Okay. Okay.
I will be the first to ask the first question. What do you already know about our school, and why are you interested in serving on the board?
The first part, is anything in particular about the school, or just general? There's a lot of stuff about. Okay, I'll just start talking then. I guess I have 4 kids, and so I'm pretty familiar with the curriculum, high school, junior high, and elementary. I've seen the Reading Mastery program from its start. With one of my oldest was in high school, or in 6th grade then, and my youngest has done it all the way through. That addition of AYP time with decreasing kids on the failing list, as well as increasing our test scores. Our title-wide school that we weren't able to get in the last several years. We have some challenges that we have to address with the facility. Also, I guess back just, student councils in the elementary as well as the junior high and high school. There are good programs for that. We have fabulous extracurricular activities in the music department, the art department. One of the things I do like about our school at this size is we do have a lot of extracurriculars that the kids can be involved in, and I think that's important. Because if you're not the athlete or the academic person, you need your drama, you need your band, you need speech, you need art, you need those types of things to find your niche in school. We've also implemented an attendance, I don't know what the word is, but the way to improve our attendance, elementary through high school, that has seemed to help. And I guess I want to be on the board. I want to keep seeing our school move in a positive direction. I want our kids to be able to, after they leave our facility, to whatever, if they're in the workforce, if they're military, college, 2-year, 4-year degree, I just want them to be able to excel after graduating from here, so they are ready for life outside of high school and possibly outside of Neligh. It's nice to have lots of kids come back. I guess that's it.
Mrs. Belitz. As a school board member, how appropriate would it be for Superintendent Kim Lingenfelter to contact your employer about your workplace performance?
That's an interesting question, Ryan. I guess I'm just going to say I think that question lies outside of what my role would be on the school board, but I will answer the question. I guess it depends on the reason. If I was doing something inappropriate, if I was not doing what I was supposed to do, then I guess a call to my boss could be warranted. It's, you know, that, I just really think that's interesting. I guess that's not something that I would think my role as a board member would be to, well, I take that back. I mean, we are in charge of the superintendent, but I guess it would depend. I'd have to know the facts and all the facts, and not just hearsay. So once I knew the facts, I guess I would talk to both parties and find out the facts, and then I would be able to make my decision on that.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Angie, what personal or professional quality do you hope to bring to the school board?
I hope to bring some open communication and some open-mindedness and approachability. I do think I'm approachable. I think I listen well. I think I'm willing to see all sides. I'm willing to discuss. So I think those would be things that I could bring and help with the liaison between the community and the school.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
What kinds of skills or expertise can you offer?
Well, again, I think some of that goes back that, again, I'm open-minded, approachable, willing to communicate. I am currently on the Neligh-Oakdale Education Foundation Board. I'm also on the Title Advisory Committee Board, so I do have some experience with different aspects of the school. I've also done quite a bit of leadership within our church organizing and running Vacation Bible School 8 years, and before that, the church I was at before here, I was also the co-chairman of the Children's Liturgy Program. So I do have some organizational skills and communication issues, and we've had, some issues with teachers and parents and kids that I've had to resolve, so I think I can do some conflict resolving as well.
Mr. Wright?
Thank you, Mrs. Belitz, for showing up, taking time out of your schedule. John Adams says that we are a nation of laws and not of men. Do you believe the Neligh-Oakdale School Board should be ruled by the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Nebraska, and by policies set forth by the Neligh-Oakdale School Board? In essence, should the Neligh-Oakdale School Board follow the laws of the land and its own policies?
I think what policies are written and approved by the school board, I think that's their guidelines of what to follow. And I think from the Nebraska Association of School Boards down to our own policy, I think that's the reason we have policies. So I think we need to follow those policies. If we need to amend them, we need to go through the proper channels to do that. I guess that's why policies are written, to keep order.
Thank you.
That concludes the question from the board. If you would go back to the room.
Okay?
Thank you.
Ron Rice will be next.
People are going to go last and third.
Mr. Rice, if you'd like to come over here, you can either stand or sit, however you prefer.
I'll stand.
Okay.
You want to stand?
I'll stand.
Like I said, each board member will ask you one question, and I will go first. There might be a little bit of time between, just so we can take down some notes.
Okay.
Mr. Rice, what do you already know about our school, and why are you interested in serving on board?
Well, what I know, I was born and raised here, went to high school here, graduated here. My kids have gone through school here. I was a past board member several years back, so I am fairly familiar with the facilities, the people. Interested because the continuation of this school in good standing is important to not only facility, but to me personally, because my son is coming back from college and hope he'll have kids and grandkids here. So, this is an ongoing thing. We need a good school with a good reputation for the betterment of our community.
Thank you. Mr. Fleming.
Mr. Rice, as a school board member, how appropriate would it be for the superintendent, Kim Lingenfelter, to contact your employer about your workplace performance?
Now, I'm not going to touch that question. I'm not going to touch that question. If I was a board member, that question would be answered. Otherwise, that is not a question that should be used to see if I'm qualified to be a board member. I am qualified to be a board member. all of the applicants are qualified to be board members. Okay, but, so anyway.
Mr. Chairman, I would suggest that you do not allow outbursts like that anymore. We'll have to remove people from the room.
Duly noted. Please refrain from making outbursts. Mr. Ranky?
Mr. Rice, what personal or professional quality do you hope to bring to the school board?
You know, the last time I was on the board, and when Glenn Morgan was, also when Glenn was superintendent, a good example, Glenn Morgan was a superintendent back when they started full-time kindergarten. That was a big change. There was also a time the same year, I think they somehow split the second grade for a split teacher. I had kids involved in both of those situations. I had a kindergartner and a second grader. We were in this room, and I can tell you that there were things that I did not agree with Glenn Morgan. Okay? One thing Glenn said to me was, he said, okay, he said, here's what we're going to do. He goes, I'm going to listen to you, and then you're going to listen to me. We had that same situation the last time I was on the school board, and whether we agreed with everybody or not, at least we listened. I think I can listen.
Thank you.
What kind of skills or expertise can you offer?
Very little.
Just-
Nope. Skills, you know what? I'm a farmer. I'm a farmer and cattleman. Expertise to I can't say that.
Mr. Rice, thank you for attending, taking time out of your schedule. John Adams says, we are a nation of laws, not of men. Do you believe the Neligh-Oakdale School Board should be ruled by the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Nebraska and by policies set forth by the Neligh-Oakdale School Board? In essence, should the Neligh-Oakdale School Board follow the laws of the land and its own policies?
We're going to have to say yes, because since we are publicly funded by the government. That, you know, whatever that entails, we are going to have to say yes because we are publicly funded. However, hopefully, since we are still a local organization, a local group, we can do better of managing and controlling things on a more local level than being dictated by somebody who has no idea of rural communities. Expertise, I'm honest.
Bless you.
Thank you, Ron.
Those are the 5 questions. If you would please return to the other room. Thank you for your interest.
You bet.
Don Sagers, if you met.
Don Zager.
Okay.
Where's the hot seat?
You can either stand right over here or sit, however you prefer. Thank you for your interest. The board's going to, like I said, ask you one question per board member. And if you give us just a few seconds after each one so we can write it down. I'll be asking your first question. What do you already know about our school, and why are you interested in serving on a board?
Well, at this time, I think the school board and the school system is in a changing pattern, I guess would be the word. It's not exactly what I'm looking for. I think everything that we have is what we fought for over the years, and everything we want to try to keep. The school is a solid school, and it's a good school. I was on the committee last year this time, and I talked to the gentleman that helped put on that program, and I asked him at that time how he felt the Neligh-Oakdale system was. And he said it was a very solid system. He said that financially it's going to be around a long, long time. So we have that going for us. We know that we can't live in the 1950s with the technology that we have today. And so at this time, I think we have to move forward. I think the board that was here before this board is about to be seated did an admirable job doing what they did. They've taken the bull by the horns and they've got it out there. They've got the people understanding what has to be done and why we have to do it. I compliment Mrs. Lingenfelder for taking that action. And I think at this point in time, the board has to continue looking at that. And I feel that that's what has to happen. And that's why I'm interested in serving on this board.
Mr. Zagers, as a school board member, how appropriate would it be for Superintendent Kim Lingenfelter to contact your employer about your workplace performance?
Well, she'd be contacting me personally, so I guess that report wouldn't fly here. I would like to think that if Mrs. Lingenfelder needed to talk to me, she knows she could. I don't have a problem with that at this time.
Thank you.
Okay. Don, what personal or professional quality do you hope to bring to the school board?
Well, the one thing that I guess I'm trying to get across more than anything else is that the school is still in flux and there's still things that have to be done. And in the 40-plus years that I've been in the construction business, I've worked with a lot of subcontractors, contractors, engineers. I've did residential and commercial construction, so I understand that part of it. And I'd like to think that I can help the board feel that they're going to get the best bang for their bucks in whatever they decide to do. And that's my main reason for running, is to help bring this school up to the standard that we feel in this community it needs to be at. I really don't think anybody in this area doesn't disagree with the fact that stuff has to be done. Improvement has to be made at the school. And I don't think there's anybody here that doesn't disagree with the fact that money needs to be spent. We just need to know how we're going to spend it. And once again, I'm very upset that Mrs. Lingenfelder won't be here to help us with that.
Thank you, Don.
What kind of skills or expertise can you offer?
Oh, I feel I can talk with about anybody if they want to sit down and listen and talk or exchange ideas. I'm always willing to look at their thoughts and see where they're going with it. So I feel I can get along with people and work with them, compromise if that's what has to happen. I have in the past.
Mr. Zagers, I want to thank you for taking the time out of your schedule to appear here tonight. John Adams says we are not a nation of law. We are a nation of laws, not of men. Do you believe the Neligh-Oakdale School Board should be ruled by the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of Nebraska, and the policies set forth by the Neligh-Oakdale School District? In essence, should Neligh-Oakdale School Board follow the laws of the land and its own policies?
Well, that's how this nation became, it's what it is. We decide to step out beyond our boundaries, and who's gonna govern us, and then who's gonna govern them. We have to stay within our boundaries. We have to stay within our boundaries in everything we do. Now, I don't know why we'd wanna step outside that at this point in time. All we do is get ran over.
Thank you.
That concludes the questions from the board. If you would please go back to the others so we can finish interviewing the other candidates.
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Christopher Ford will be next.
You can either stand or sit, however you prefer. Thank you for your interest in the school board. You'll be asked, like I said, one question by each board member. There'll be for a few seconds in between, so we can just jot down some notes. I'll ask the first question. What do you already know about our school, and why are you interested in serving on board?
I know that Neligh-Oakdale is a very proud school with dedicated people in this community that volunteer their time to make this school the best that it can be. The reason why I want to be a part of this school board is I know that there's some challenges at this school right now with leadership, with facility issues. I just want to be able to be a part of the group that's able to come together and get the solutions that we need. I have a vested interest in this school. I have one child in school right now and 3 more that will be enrolled within the next 5 years. So safety, academics, athletic competition, those types of things are important to me. I think that Neligh can be the best if we just strive to get there.
Mr. Ford, as a school board member, how appropriate would it be for Superintendent Kim Lingenfelter to contact your employer about your workplace performance?
I guess if my workplace I guess I don't understand where my workplace performance would come into play on this board or outside of my work. My company has a very strict policy that I must adhere to. Even to be here tonight, I had to get prior approval from our council. I take that very seriously, and therefore, I guess I took an oath with my company that I wouldn't bring my company or use my company time or my company facilities to perform anything that would be a part of this board or any other group that I may be a part of. So I guess to further answer your question, I would not put my company or my job at risk by any influence to this board.
Thank you.
board, what personal or professional quality do you hope to bring to the school board?
I hope to bring, I guess, a sense of unity to the board. As many of you may or may not know, I wasn't raised in Neligh. I've lived in Omaha, I've lived out of state. I guess I feel like I could bring a fresh perspective that's not necessarily tied to emotionally to this school or emotionally to this community, but I can come in with fresh eyes and say, you know what, these are the things that an outsider may or may not see. These are the things that may need to be addressed. I have agriculture through my blood. I mean, I was raised on a farm, raised in a community similar to Neligh, almost the same size. I was raised on a farm. Both my parents were teachers, so I feel like I have education in my blood. I have agriculture in my blood. I work agriculture, in an agricultural field. So I feel like that could be a blended sense of unity that maybe I could bring to the board. I have 12 years of business experience. I have a master's degree in administration, to where I feel like I could bring a level of professionalism to the board. Not to say that the board isn't professional, but I would hopefully adhere to all the professionalism on the board.
Okay, thank you.
What kinds of skills or expertise could you offer?
As I mentioned before, I have the ag background. By trade, I'm an analyst. I'm a credit analyst. I understand how taxes, how blips in crop prices, those types of things. I understand how they can help the cash flow. I understand how they can help or hurt the bottom line. But at the same time, I have that sense of finance and credit background that hopefully I wouldn't get confused with big numbers. You know, I lead consensus decisions daily on millions of dollars on the livelihood of producers and farmers across the 4-state area. So big numbers don't frighten me. I'm comfortable leading groups. I'm comfortable kind of digging into it a little bit too. And I think that if you have a group that's doesn't always necessarily agree, I think you're going to get the best solutions out of that. And it will be the best for all parties.
Mr. Ray?
Mr. Ford, I'd like to thank you for taking the time out of your schedule to come tonight. John Adams says, "We are a nation of laws, not of men." Do you believe the Neligh-Oakdale School Board should be ruled by the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of Nebraska, and the policies set forth by the Neligh-Oakdale School Board? In essence, should the Neligh-Oakdale School Board follow the laws of the land and its own policies?
I would say yes, you should.
Thank you.
Sure.
That concludes the interviews, questions. If you wouldn't mind going back to that room while we finish up interviewing the other candidates.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Next one's Tara Bentley Kind.
Sorry. Thank you for coming. You can either stand over there or sit.
Sit over here?
However you feel more comfortable.
Sure.
Each board member will ask you one question like we do. Appreciate your interest in the board.
Okay.
And I will start. What do you already know about our school, and why are you interested in serving on a board?
I'm interested
interested in serving on the board because I've raised 2 children that have already graduated from Neligh-Oakdale, and I have 2 more children that need to, or that will be going through and graduating from Neligh-Oakdale. I have big interest in Neligh because of my children, and also I have some background with the school. I used to coach high school volleyball. I also substitute taught at Neligh-Oakdale. And I guess my heart is with my kids, and if that means that's part of their future, that's why I decided to put my name in.
Mrs. Kynes, as a school board member, how appropriate would it be for Superintendent Kim Lingenfelter to contact your employer about your workplace performance?
About my performance on the school board or my performance at work?
Your performance at work.
I guess I would be a little confused how she would know what my performance at work was, but I guess if she had an issue, which I do work with a lot of producers or people in our office, and I guess if she had an issue with me, and she, you know, as something that I did at my work, she has every right to contact my my boss or my supervisor. If it's hearsay, I don't think that would be right. I guess it depends on the circumstances, Ryan. You know, if it was something I did in the office, because I do see a lot of people. But if she's never been in my office and she contacted my boss, I would hope that there was some facts behind it.
Thank you.
Yep.
Mrs. Kynes, what personal or professional quality do you hope to bring to the school board?
Personally, I think I'm very approachable. I think I'm very honest. I think I'm very open-minded, easy to get along with. And I think with the history of the school board, I think that's a big positive to have on the school board. Willingness to work together, to listen to facts, to make an educated opinion, and not walk in with an agenda. I really don't. I attended most of the meetings back in 2011 and 12. I've attended most of the meetings discussing the bond issue and walking through the building, trying to come up with what the issues are. I haven't missed very many, so I think, you know, I have a lot of knowledge coming in. I think that's got to be a positive. So I'm not just walking in with not having participated in any of that.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
What kind of skills or expertise can you offer?
I was looking back at this, and in my past experience, I worked for State Foster Care Review Board, and I had to facilitate 3 boards, which we hosted board meetings once a month for those 3 boards, and actually had to facilitate them. And we had board members. You know, I think that would be a good positive. I also had to speak in front of in the courtroom. And again, that job put the children first, and that's why I think I'd be good at this job, because I probably would put the children first. I guess I was able to speak in front of a lot of people, form educated opinions, and communicate them the best that I could.
Mr. Wright?
Thank you, Mrs. Kynes, for taking time to show up tonight. John Adams says, "We are a nation of laws, not of men." Do you believe the Neligh-Oakdale School Board should be ruled by the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Nebraska, and by policies set forth by the Neligh-Oakdale School Board? In essence, Should the Neligh-Oakdale School Board follow the laws of the land and its own policies?
Yes.
Thank you.
That concludes the interview portion. If you wouldn't mind going back to that room.
Yes.
And while we finish interviewing,
I don't know if it matters, but my legal name is actually Bentley Times, so just in case that matters.
thank you.
Red pickerel.
What did I say? This is fine.
I think you started it too. Probably started it.
Okay, how did that go? Just say, is that my time before you put it up? George, okay.
Pickerel, if you'd, you can have your choice if you'd like to stand or sit, if you prefer, whatever you
I'll take a seat.
do appreciate your interest in the board. There'll be, each board member, like I said, will ask one question. Might be a little time in between while we write down some notes.
Okay.
Bear with us.
Sure.
I'm going to ask the first question.
Okay.
What do you already know about our school, and why are you interested in serving on a board?
What I know about the school is pretty much the bones of the place, the structures of it. I'm new to town. I moved to town about a year and a half ago, so I don't have a lot of experience in the community and being able to experience a lot of school organizations. So what I know is purely what I see with my eyes. I don't have any legacies or any experiences to go with that. What was the second part of that question?
What do you already know about our school, and why are you interested in serving on a board?
I'm interested. My father was a school board member during my tenure at a public school, I guess. And I called him and asked his opinion about it, and he thought it was a really good way to start if you're seeking more board experience. I base it off that. Also, I have a couple of young kids that aren't quite in school, so I take a special interest in seeing and furthering, having them a better education if I can be a part of that, and try to just better their future if I have a chance.
Thank you.
Mr. Pickrell, as a school board member, how appropriate would it be for Superintendent Kim Lingenfelter to contact your employer about your workplace performance?
Well, with it being what I view as a public official, I think, and also I work at a public nonprofit organization, I would have to view it as open standards. The other thing to remember is that if I don't have anything to hide, I wouldn't have any problems with her definitely talking to anybody I either work with as a boss, above, below, or next to me. Wouldn't have any problems with that. I'd have my my own recognizance to rely on.
Thank you.
Mr. Pickrell, what personal or professional quality do you hope to bring to the school board?
Well, right now, I work as a computer systems manager for ESU 8. So I have a very extensive background and very, very large knowledge in the area of technology. I've helped schools, not only in the ESU 7, but also the ESU 8, with deployment of all of their technologies. Not only get it in students' hands, but
Also, cutting the red tape and saving a lot of schools thousands of dollars. So I got a lot of experience with doing that. I also think that, I have a pure focus of the school and the students' education. I don't have a lot of family legacy or neighbors that I've been neighbors with for decades. I'd have a pure unbiased opinion, and my sole focus would be bottom line student education.
Okay, thank you.
What kind of skills or expertise can you offer?
I think I kind of touched on that in the last question a bit. Yeah, I just have to, I'll just re-answer, I guess, with kind of the same comments. Technology, of course, is my forte. I've been in it for quite a few years. I've helped out over 50 school districts. Save money, deploy it, use it in the right manner.
Thank you.
Mr. Ray?
Mr. Pickrell, thank you for taking the time out of your evening to be here tonight. John Adams says, "We are a nation of laws, not of men." Do you believe the Neligh-Oakdale School Board should be ruled by the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Nebraska and the policies set forth by the Neligh-Oakdale School Board? In essence, should the Neligh-Oakdale School Board follow the laws of the land and its own policies?
Absolutely. That's what they're for. If they need to be, back in the day when they amended it, they knew that it needed to be changed so that you can mold it as you move on in order to fit the day and age of it is now, because it's way different than what it used to be when John Adams was alive. But yeah, you have to adhere to the policy, what you have written on paper, and follow it to the T.
Thank you.
That concludes the question portion of the room.
Sure.
When we finish interviewing the rest of the candidates.
Okay,
Thank
thanks.
Janelle call off next.
Ms. Calla, if you choose to stand or sit, you can do whatever you want to do.
Have a seat here.
The board, like I said, is going to ask each, is going to ask one question. You can writing stuff in between, so just bear with us while we keep a few notes. I'm going to ask the first question. What do you already know about our school, and why are you interested in serving on a board?
Well, my husband actually graduated from this school. I had 3 girls that graduated. Hopefully Chase will graduate in 2016. So I'm very familiar with the school and how it's been run, and the teachers that are here, and what's expected of our students. Oh, and I guess for your second part of your question, why I'm seeking a position. Well, education is a priority for me. As you know, I brought up the topic at the October school board meeting, my concerns over some of the curriculum. And I've been told by people, we need somebody in there that's worried about the curriculum and worried about the education of our kids. I understand there are other pressing topics right now, but that are on the table, that we have to keep education at the forefront.
Mrs. Coloff, as a school board member, how appropriate would it be for Superintendent Kim Lingenfelter to contact your employer about your workplace performance?
She's more than welcome to contact my employer. I'm self-employed. My boss is a dream to work for.
Excuse me.
Mrs. Coloff, what personal or professional quality do you hope to bring to the school board?
Oh, man. Just common sense. I think that's really the main characteristic, quality that a school, it shouldn't be that hard to be a school board member. I think, there are rules that have to be followed. You just follow the rules.
Okay.
What kind of skills or expertise can you offer?
I worked for 27 years as a legal secretary here in town. So I've dealt with many people from many walks of life. Very wealthy people doing estate planning to indigent criminal defendants. So I feel like I can work well with the public and with the board.
Thank you.
Mr. Wright?
Mrs. Coloff, I'd like to thank you for taking the time to be here tonight. John Adams said, "We are a nation of laws, not of men." You believe the Neligh-Oakdale School Board should be ruled by the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Nebraska, and by the policies set forth by the Neligh-Oakdale School Board. In essence, should the Neligh-Oakdale School Board follow the laws of the land and its own policies?
Absolutely. Policies are, policies, you have standards, you have laws, you have rules, you have regulations. They all have to be followed.
Thank you.
That concludes the interview portion. If you don't mind going back to the room so we can finish up the other candidates.
You betcha.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Corey first and I'll next.
The jar is now empty, right? Mr. Personnel, if you would like to stand or sit, your choice.
Sit, where would be the best spot?
Each board, thank you for your interest in the board.
Thank you.
Each board member, like I said, is going to ask you one question, and might give you a little bit of time between, just so we can take some notes. And I'm going to ask you the first question. What do you already know about our school, and why are you interested in serving on a board?
What do I know about our school? I know that we have a good education facility here. I'm excited about the education in Neligh. We have good teachers, good staff. Can I see the question again?
What do you already know about our school, and why are you interested in serving on a board?
I'm interested in serving on the school board because I believe in the future of education. I have 3 children coming up that will, 2 are currently in the school system. 1 more, hopefully he makes it there and he'll be in the system. And I'd like to help them through their school years and maybe make some decisions for the school, ultimately will affect them. I guess that's about it.
Thank you.
Mr. Firstnaw, as a school board member, how appropriate would it be for Superintendent Kim Lingenfelter to contact your employer about your workplace performance?
Well, I guess what I would say is that wouldn't have anything to do with her, with her actual job application. I don't feel that would have any place. Her job, she's hired by the board to take care of the school, be the administrator, take care of the finances, deal with the everyday life of the school. I don't think that would have anything to do with her job role.
Thank you.
Mr. Firstnaw, what personal or professional quality do you hope to bring to the school board?
I guess I bring business experience. I'm a local farmer, and we deal with business every day and finances, and I feel that I've had some experience that I can maybe bring to the board. Could you repeat the question again?
What personal or professional quality do you hope to bring to the school board?
Okay. I feel I'm a common sense person, I believe a lot of things can be done easily and without strife. And we just need to make decisions and move forward with, whatever task we have at hand.
Okay, thank you.
What kind of skills or expertise can you offer?
Well, I'm not a carpenter, so I couldn't build anything for you. But I guess, I'm just a no-nonsense type of person. I believe in a high-quality education. I believe in taking care of our young people. I believe in, I was an FFA all the years through high school, and I believe FFA makes leaders of tomorrow, and I guess I'd like to instill that in our school. The school's doing a good job right now, but I think we can look to the future and make sure that we do have leaders of tomorrow coming from Neligh-Oakdale.
Mr. Firstnaw, thank you for taking the time out of your evening to be here tonight. John Adams said we are a nation of laws, not of men. Do you believe the Neligh-Oakdale School Board should be ruled by the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of Nebraska, and by policy set forth by the Neligh-Oakdale School Board? In essence, should the Neligh-Oakdale School Board follow the laws of the land and its own policies.
I believe it should follow the Constitution, obviously. I believe it should follow policies. Now, policies are made and changed every day in boards, so, I mean, policies are able to be changed, I guess. So as long as the 6-member board agrees on it, policies can be changed.
Thank you.
Thank you. If you just want to have a seat, if you'd bring everybody else in.
I see that.
All right. After having the opportunity to look at everybody's letters of interest and their interviews, I'd like to just go around and discuss the colleges and candidates that you think would fulfill the other board members' best interest of Neligh-Oakdale. Kim, if you want to go first.
Do I talk about hospice on all of them, or the one I want?
It's your time, or whoever, which qualities do you think, whatever person would best fit? Is there a positive that you think that would best fit our position?
At this point in time, the one that stands out to me the most is Chris Ford. He has got extensive experience in agriculture, finances, with his master's degree, as parents or teachers. I liked what he said about bringing in fresh perspective and unity to the board and the community, as well as his leadership skills. That's not to say there aren't positives about others, but he's the one that stood out the most to me.
I guess, you know, to me, for a person on the board, they need to be willing to listen to people and compromise. They need to have strengths in their past experiences as far as the financial side and everything like that with running a business. But on the same token, I think it's also important that they do have that fresh perspective, that they can bridge the gap between different people and can bring it together as a group and agree and ultimately agree on a decision. I don't know if I really have one that stands out as number one right now. They, all kidding aside, Brad, they all have their pros. I mean, there's a lot of good people here that'd be more than fitting for a board to be on board. Ron Gill brings an interesting perspective where he was a past teacher, past board experience on that. I guess that's the one thing that stands out to me for Ron. Like I say, there's positives on all of them. I'm not going to go down through and list all of them, I guess.
Quentin?
So as was mentioned, I'm glad that we had 9 candidates. I think that's great that we have a difficult task in front of us to try to pick one of these individuals. But for me, my number one candidate would be Ron Gill. I think he brings a lot to the table. He's a former teacher. He knows the standards, what it takes to run a good program as far as being a teacher, how to implement that. And his English program was very well respected. Prepared kids for college English time and time again. He's a carpenter by trade. He knows this building like the back of his hand. I think he's served on other school boards. I think he's an excellent candidate. I think Corey Personot also would be a good candidate. He would be my second candidate, though. Corey brings some good business experience. He's done quite a bit of work the last 6 months on different issues that the school faced with the building challenges. He's a good head on his shoulders. He has children in school. So, at the end of the day, he wants to make sure they're getting a good education, not just saving money for taxpayers.
Mr. Wright?
Well, I'd like to reiterate what Ryan had just said. 9 people. If you analyze things, why are 9 people showing up for this position? Obviously, there's a need for change if that many people are willing to step forward. I kind of got the answer that I hoped out of most of them. We set forth policies, and we should abide by our policies. If we don't, how do we expect our children to abide by rules and regulations? I'm not so sure about the newer ones to the community, and that's just my preference or what I'm thinking. I do like Ron Gill's experience. He has been here for many years. He's worked on this school. He understands the system. I did notice through the meetings that we have been through in the past, I did notice that, Jane Coliff is one of the very few that just talked about the curriculum and education. Never got caught up into the facility challenges and those things facing the school. I guess those are the 2 that I'm probably leaning towards.
And myself, like I said, there's a lot of, I think any one of the 9 will be just fine in that seat. I guess I'd have to say, I did like Ron Rice's ability to stand up and say what he thought. And sometimes that's very hard on the board. And you should have stood up yourself. You think, well, somebody else did. He stood up for what he believed in. And I think that's a good attribute, the quality that we are looking for board members. Also was very impressed with Mr. Ford's application, his time he spent into that, his qualities that he has. He's got his master's degree. He's involved in the school, through his teammates. He works for the city, the economic development, stuff like that. He's been involved. We talk about change, and we bring a different perspective coming from I don't have any reasons behind things. Just I see it as is. Mr. Piccolo allude to that. I guess that excludes people that I think would do well. Any other discussion? When I entertain a motion.
Nominate Chris Ford.
Okay, is there a second? I second that motion. Okay, a roll call vote?
Higgins,
Yes.
Schindler,
Yes.
Wright,
No.
Ranky,
Yes.
Clancy.
No.
Motion carries 3-2. I'd like to say I really appreciate, you know, everybody coming in and putting their name forward. With that, Mr. Ford, would you step up?